Good evening, everybody, and welcome into our latest edition of the Milford Informer. I am your host, Tim Coet. Before we get into our local news items, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the major national story of the week, and that, of course, is the Chicago Cubs. After a 108-year championship drought, the Cubs defeated the Cleveland Indians on Wednesday night in one of the most thrilling Game 7s of all time. Here in New England, we know all too well what it feels like to see an elongated World Series curse come to an end. So enjoy the celebration, Cubs fans. You certainly earned it. One more piece of news before we get to our top stories of the week. For those residents who opted not to participate in Milford's early voting, your chance to cast your ballot in this 2016 election comes up this Tuesday. Traditional Election Day voting takes place on Tuesday, November 8th, with polling locations open from 7 a.m. all the way until 8 p.m. Here's a quick rundown of the polling locations for Milford's voting precincts. If you live in Precincts 1 or 6, your polling location is the Ruth Ann Bleakney Senior Center, located at 60 North Bow Street. If you reside in Precincts 2 or 3, you'll be voting at the Italian American Veterans Hall at 4 Hayward Field. And if you are a part of Precincts 4, 5, 7, or 8, you will be casting your vote at the Portuguese Club at 119 Prospect Heights. Again, all polling locations will be open at 7 a.m. and will remain open until 8 p.m. Anyone in line at the time the polls close will be allowed to cast their vote. And remember, aside from the presidential candidates, there are 4 major questions on this year's ballot, along with many other important local decisions, including the race for state representative. We'll have a full recap of all the election results here on the Milford Informer next week, and we also will have our favorite lighthearted political correspondent, R.J. Sheedy, in studio to give his reaction. And now let's get to this week's top stories rundown. Tonight, we'll begin a new season of Claflin Hill musician profiles as we feature the orchestra's principal horn player, Nannette Foley. And later in sports, we'll provide a comprehensive playoff update for Milford High School, starting with the football team, and then we'll show you how the volleyball team prepared for their Round 1 matchup with Tantasqua, and we'll show you full highlights from Thursday's playoff match. Last season, the Milford Informer and the Claflin Hill Symphony began a special series of musician profiles, giving residents an inside look at Claflin's highly talented performers. With the new Claflin season kicking off on Saturday, we have a brand new installment of our musician profiles, featuring one of Claflin's founding members in principal horn player Nannette Foley.
Playing My Horn, April 2007. Lucky me, playing my horn, a glorious task for which I was born. Sometimes I play late into the night. Warm-ups by David Johnson work just right. It's hard to play the horn, most would say, but that's the joy, the accomplishment of the day. I can do something difficult pretty well, and often it takes me out of the worldly hell. The horn always gives back to me. What work I've put in comes out sweetly. The horn is an important extension of me, bringing me moments of joy and so much glee. When I am upset, playing my horn is the first thing I do. It takes me to another world, and then I don't feel blue. The breathing and focus it always commands takes me away from what life demands. When I play the horn, it is only for me. It is truly my sweet serenity. This poem was written as a thank you note, actually, to David Johnson of the American Horn Quartet. I took a year off from Claflin Hill about 10 years ago and went to Italy for the year. And I immediately missed being on stage. When I went to the first concert, I was almost in a panic and cried through the whole program of the Planets because Claflin Hill had just played it last season. And I didn't know when I was going to work again. So I immediately went home to my friends and said, I need to find somebody to study with. So I went and I studied with Sandro Ceccarelli in Milan, and then he suggested I also go up to Lugano and study with David. And so that poem was written as a thank you note for the guidance they both had given me. And I said, gee, I think I'm going to submit that to the Horn Call. And I was very surprised. It was all done on a whim. I was beyond the deadline. I just emailed it to Bill Scharberg in Texas, and he replied right away. He said, we'll take it. So that's how that poem came about. I'm from a family of 11 children, and I'm fifth from the top, and my father loved music. And so I'm sure I had a passion right from the womb. Each of the children played instruments. He was choir director at St. Anne's Church in Littleton for 22 years, but he played violin at home and just loved music, was always listening to recordings. He loved jazz. We sang all the time. It was a house full of chaos, but a lot of fun, and we always sang together. But speaking about the horn, I did not want to play the horn at all. I wanted to play the timpani. And today I still visit the percussion section because I love the timpani. But they said, no, we are not having any drums in this household. And I said, well, that's what I want to do. And each week they were asking me, well, have you thought about what you wanted to do? And I said, yes, I want to play the timpani. And finally the night came, and they said, well, it's the night to decide. And I said, I want to play the timpani, so get whatever you want. Because if I can't play the timpani, it doesn't matter to me. So they brought home the trumpet, and I played trumpet for 3 years and was playing first trumpet. And the band director, who was also a family friend, asked me to switch to horn. And I bawled my eyes out. I did not want to play the horn. I was enjoying playing lead trumpet and getting lots of solos. I didn't want to play offbeats, which is what band has a lot of. But I did fall in love with the horn shortly thereafter because we were fortunate enough to live at the New Hampshire Music Festival for 3 summers. And I went to a workshop and was able to hear Barry Tuckwell from Australia and Phil Farkas, who was the first horn player of the Chicago Symphony. So I was only a junior high student, but I got to hear 2 world-class players with an amazing sound, and I really fell in love with it then. I've been teaching for many, many years, and that's always been a joy. I like to teach because as a teacher we learn. And I like to see the college students succeed because this is not their major. It's a science school. But Doug Weeks has an excellent music program there, and these students are challenged, and they rise to the challenge because science and music goes very well together. They understand it intellectually. Sometimes the challenge is for them to add the heart and the soul because they have a science brain. But they're a joy. I've always loved teaching. I've always felt that it's beneficial to me as a player to know how to describe a passage in a piece of music 20 different ways. Because if I have different students, they don't all understand on the same level. So you have to demonstrate, but you also just learn how to say a musical phrase in many different ways so that each student can understand it. Our very first concert, I believe, was performing Carmina Burana, and it was in the spring, and one day was 34 degrees, and the next day was 90 degrees, and it was in Worcester, and several chorus members fainted. It was crazy, and I think on that program we also played 2 serenades, and we said, oh my goodness, this is the beginning of doing music Paul's way. Like, the more, the better. And it was really fun. It was a new group for me. I had played with many other orchestras, and so it was a new conductor. And I said, this guy has a lot of passion, and this should be a lot of fun. And it really has, and it's just grown. Over the years, I know Paul has put his heart and soul and his household into this orchestra so that musicians can have work and that we can bring beautiful music to the community. And I admire him a lot for all the sacrifices he made. And a lot of us had played together in other groups, so we were friends anyway. But over the years, we've seen at least 3, maybe 4 different concert masters, and there has been tremendous improvement. I love our concert master today. He's brought in a lot of wonderful players, and the strings have just improved continuously. We have a very strong woodwind section, and the brass has been solid right from the get-go. We've been pretty lucky that it's been very stable, and we all enjoy each other and support each other. So it's been a lot of fun making music together, because the passion comes right from Paul at the get-go, but we all have our own inner passion that we bring. And it's 1 and 1 doesn't make 2. It makes 100. I think I'd like just to say thank you to my parents for the love of music, and my band director. I think of them all the time, every time I play. And it's good to have some way to give back. I feel God gave us some talents, and it's our job to use them. And I'm very grateful. It's not an easy life, but I'm very grateful that I've been a musician all my life.
Last Friday night, the Scarlet Hawks football team entered into the 2016 MIAA tournament as the number 5 seed in the Division II South bracket. The Hawks had the unique challenge of facing off against Stoughton for a second week in a row. The Hawks struggled their way to a shutout defeat against the Black Knights back on October 21st, and the playoff rematch would prove to be even more difficult, with the team's star running back Blake Hill declared out for the rest of the season due to injury. With Hill sidelined, the Milford offense once again could not get anything going against the tough Stoughton D. The Knights scored 21 points in the opening quarter, and they would cruise to a 34-0 win, eliminating Milford from playoff contention. The Hawks will now play out a regular season schedule for the next 2 weeks before concluding their year on Thanksgiving morning. All 3 of Milford's remaining contests will take place at home. Milford TV is over at the football field right now as Milford takes on Walpole in a rematch of the 2014 Division II South semifinals. We'll have highlights from that game here on The Informer next Friday night. Meanwhile, the Milford girls volleyball team spent their week gearing up for an opening round match in the MIAA tournament. The girls found out on Tuesday that they earned the number 6 seed in the Division II Central bracket, and they would host 11-seeded Tantasqua in a round 1 game that took place on Thursday night. Before the team took to the floor, I caught up with a few of the players, as well as head coach Linda Zakili, to reflect on how the team improved over the course of the season and to get their thoughts heading into the tournament.
And this will do it as it comes down. Milford gets the point, and they finish off a 3-set sweep. They win the third set 25-18. High fives all around as this regular season comes to an end with a win.
Last season, the Milford girls volleyball team fell just a single win shy of qualifying for a spot in the MIAA tournament. For the girls who returned to the varsity team in 2016, the disappointment of the previous year provided plenty of motivation.
I feel like we should have made playoffs last year, and so I think we were all more motivated this year to actually do that. And
it was an attitude thing. We knew we should have got it last year, and so this year we knew we had to make up for last year pretty much.
From the early days of the season, head coach Linda Zakili knew she had a deep pool of talent on her roster. The only question would be how to best use the players she had to maximize their abilities.
I think the most difficult thing was for me to find the most beneficial place to put these players, where they would help us the most. And so that took us a few games initially. I moved quite a few players around. And about mid-season, I think I felt very comfortable with our lineup. And we've just continued to get stronger over the course of the season. I really feel we've surprised a lot of schools the second time around, and I think that we're going to take some schools by surprise in the tournament as well.
The Milford varsity roster consisted of 17 players, each of whom had an important part in the team's 13-win season.
The thing that impresses me the most is first of all, my setters have come a long way over the course of the season. That was a big question mark entering the season. Allie Collins and Lauren Zaranjan are my two setters, and they're seniors. I think the weakest part of my setting earlier on was at my setters being able to get the ball all the way out to the antenna. Now they're doing that consistently, which allows for the middle blocker on the other side has to work twice as hard to get out there, so it opens up way more potential opportunities for us. So they're doing a great job getting the ball out there. We've become a very effective serving team. I have quite a few solid servers, spot servers on the team. And then I think that my middles have really, really improved. So both Jillian and Juliana Tracy, they've come a long way in the middle of the court, which I think when you have middles that can perform, they keep the middle blocker on the opposite team honest, and it opens up potential opportunities for your outsides. My outsides have been steady all season, so that's Ali Zagami and Kelly Reichart. They've been steady. They play the only two players on my court that play all the way around. Great servers, great defensive players, very good across the net. Kyra Alves has been stepping in at libero. Jane Schuler's my other defensive player. And two of my girls who've played on the right side of the court, I didn't know where I was going to put them, but two seniors, Steph Chiarelli and Brianna Croto, they solidify the right side of the court, and they've provided us with some solid blocking and some consistent hitting from that side of the court.
With so much turnover in the volleyball coaching staff over the last 4 years, the seniors were unsure what to expect coming into this season. But everyone on the team agrees Coach Zakili was exactly the kind of coach their team needed.
Definitely different than anything we've had before.
I mean, it's been hard because I've had a new coach every year, so I mean, it wasn't like a huge adjustment because I'm used to having a new coach, but she definitely led the program very well and helped us get to where we are.
The team has had a full week to prepare for their postseason run, and the confidence amongst the team and the coaching staff is extremely high heading into Thursday's showdown with Tantasqua.
I think if we play together and play at our best, we can beat anybody.
Yeah. And I think we're all very excited, and that excitement will transition into our playing, and we'll get the job done.
I'm very excited about getting the team, back to where we are, where they think that they can win, where they're competitive. When you look at where we've come from to where we are now, we made a huge jump. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm happy for them that, I'm hoping that we have helped as coaches make their senior year, these seniors, a special year for them. And I know that the juniors are really excited, and which says a lot for the future. I just think that we did change the culture, the way of thinking a little bit here. and the girls have been real receptive to it, so it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned.
If the team can prevail in the early rounds of the tournament, they stand a good chance of squaring off with their Davenport nemesis Canton in the semifinals. That is a challenge Coach Zakili and the players are hoping for.
We know we can beat them for sure. We got a set off of them. If we just play together, it's the unforced errors. If we don't make mistakes, then we'll win. And I think that going into playoffs, like with our attitude, it's going to be different than a regular season game. We'll be more focused and like ready. So I think we could definitely beat them.
I do think that this last time that we played them, we had a very good chance. We were up 2-1 and we had like a 10-point lead in the fourth game, and we let it slip away. So I'm hoping that we've learned a lesson from that match, and if we get another opportunity, we won't let that happen. I would really love to play them again, yes. We finished second in our division behind them, fourth overall. We have the same league record as Franklin. And the teams that finished ahead of us, Mansfield, we went 5 with them. King Philip, we went 5 with them, and then Canton, and we beat Franklin. So those are the teams that finished ahead of us, and I really feel like we are capable, if we play our game, we can play with anybody. So I am really looking forward to this tournament, and I think the girls are as well.
MIAA playoff tournament has arrived, and your Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks volleyball team gets set to open up a first-round matchup at home here tonight against the visiting Tantasqua Lady Warriors. It will be Tantasqua serving first. The ball is in the air, and this playoff match is underway as the serve is delivered long. Next serve in the air from Ali Zagami. This one handled cleanly by Gabori in the back row. And stuffed in front, the block by Jillian Valenzola. Flip shot over the net. Collins will set it straight up in the air. Now Alves to the front. From the right side, it's Shirelli. Now straight ahead, great block by Valenzola. A tremendous one right there to make it an 8-0 lead. Kyra Alves looking to close out set number 1. Popped straight up, narrowly missing the basketball hoop. Tantasqua able to return. Zagami a hard hit. Now straight up the middle by Jillian Valenzola, and that kill will seal the deal in this first set. Flat out dominance for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. Milford looking to take a stranglehold of this match. Here's the serve from Zagami. Can Tantasqua save it? Instead, it's fired into the net by Gabori. And that is all for set number 2, a better effort out of Tantasqua, but in the end, Milford is able to claim victory 25-11. Here's the setup for Kelly Reichert, and that stays in the near corner. Here's Zarangian to the left side. Reichert's shot gets blocked. Milford regroups, Zagami sends it over the net. Waiting for it to come down with Sabrina Bouchard. And again, we'll see Reichert this time getting it over that front row. But a nice dig and a return and a good volley. And this time, a little flip shot for Reichert, and changing up the timing for that front row of Tantasqua paid off as Reichert gets the kill. A hard-fought point that time for Milford. And Milford now with match point, 24-16. And the Milford fans start to get loud again, as does the bench. The serve away by Kyra Alves, answered by Bouchard. Returned back over, Zagami trying to keep it in, and it's in just inside the far sideline. And Zagami gets the kill that seals the set and the win for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, 25-16. They're able to win set 3, and Milford enters into this first round of the MIAA playoffs, and they sweep their way to victory over the Tantasqua Lady Warriors.
Total team effort. I mean, I felt like we had very few unforced errors. All of our hitters performed and capitalized on good sets, and they all had their share of swings. Our defense played phenomenally. I mean, I really can't just pick out one person or two people. It was a total team effort, and I mean, I thought that offensively we were phenomenal, and we dug pretty much everything that was sent our way.
We were pretty confident, but it's a playoff, so the competition's going to be harder. But we came in with a 3-0 sweep, and we're going into next week very confident about what we can do.
The best thing was that we made some smart decisions. We didn't make a lot of mistakes, and everybody was able to put the ball to the floor, which makes it hard to defend.
They put new people in new positions based on serves. They kind of paid attention where we were going, adjusted, but it was nothing we couldn't handle. We still came out with the win. We were all pretty nervous. We were like, we can't mess up. This is our shot, and we proved the hawk wrong this year. We've gone against our reputation, and we're doing it again in playoffs. We're going to show a lot of people what we're made of.
I don't know a lot about Neshoba. I mean, now I'll go make a few phone calls, see if I can find out some information about them. I don't feel that the schedule that they play is quite as competitive, or ours is a very challenging schedule. Let's put it that way for us in the Hockomock. There are very few weak teams. Everybody's looking for the win. So I think that our schedule probably preparing us more than Neshoba's schedule, but we never take a team for granted. Anybody can beat you on any given day, and if you don't bring your A game, it can happen to you tomorrow, just like that. So, I mean, that's what I tell the girls all the time. People are not going to lay down and let you win. You need to bring your A game, or they're out to beat you. And I'm just happy to be going to the next round. Even though we're on the road, we're playing the number 3 seed. I'm thrilled. I couldn't have placed the team in a better position, seeding-wise. We get another shot if we make it through this next round at Canton. They're the ones that beat us out for a league championship. So it's all kind of fallen into place, and now it's pretty much up to the girls. They've worked hard all season. The last couple of practices we've brought it to the next level. I just think that it's a total team effort at this point.
1, 2, 3, Milford! Upside down!
It was a great win to open up the playoffs for the Lady Hawks. The girls will now move on to the quarterfinals, where they will take on number 3 seed Neshoba on the road this coming Monday, November 7th, with the match beginning at 4 p.m. Neshoba Regional High School is located at 12 Green Road in Bolton, Massachusetts. Next week, I'll be meeting up with the MHS Theater Workshop to get a behind-the-scenes look at their upcoming production of Our Town. You can expect a sneak preview of the play, along with interviews with cast and crew on next Friday's show. We hope you'll come back and join us then. Until next time, from all of us here at Milford TV, this is Tim Coet saying have a great week. So long, everybody.